One of my favorite characters ever on TV is from the show Seinfeld. His name's George Costanza, and George had many irritating traits, but one of his most irritating ones is he was constantly offering unsolicited, unwanted advice to professionals on how to do their jobs. So he'd go up to a TV executive or an actor and tell him an idea for a new plot line, or he'd go up to a professional baseball player and tell him how to better hit a baseball. Somehow, for some reason, he didn't realize how annoying and unwanted that advice was. None of us likes to receive unwanted advice like that, but I wonder sometimes if our prayer lives don't look a little bit like that to God. And it isn't that God doesn't want us to offer requests to Him. In fact, He encourages that and commands it. But it's important for us, for our own mental health, to make sure we understand who's in charge and why. Sometimes our prayer lives look a little bit more like trying to bend God to get Him to hop on board and sell Him on our plan for our lives. That's not what prayer is supposed to be. Prayer is designed to be shaping our hearts to hop on board with God's plan for our lives. This is why the Apostle Paul writes in Philippians 4:6, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." Now you might say, I've tried that. I've tried prayer, and I'm just as anxious as I've ever been. I'm just as stressed out as I've ever been. Well, maybe, but here's the thing. Are you doing it the right way? Are you praying with thanksgiving? See, anxiety, where it comes from in our lives, is anxiety is the idea that we think we know exactly the way our lives are supposed to go. And whenever we perceive our lives to not be going that way, the distance between our ideal for our lives and the reality of our lives, that distance is directly proportional to our anxiety levels. But when you pray with thanksgiving, it changes things. When you pray with thanksgiving, what you're really doing is you're acknowledging, I'm not fit to run my own life. Only God alone, who's infinite in understanding all the possible outcomes and all the possible choices and all the possible details of life, He alone knows whether or not something will be a blessing and in my best interest. And because He's a loving and powerful God, if what I'm asking for is in my best interest, a loving God would not deny that. But if something truly is not in your best interest, a loving God should not supply it. Pray with thanksgiving, and I guarantee this will help calm some of the inevitable stressors of life. All week long, we're looking at how the gospel of Jesus Christ cures our anxiety. Share this video and comment below and tell us some of the things that stress you out the most in life. And be sure to join us tomorrow as we look at how to let it all go.
If these messages are a blessing to you and your faith and you want more, we'd love to make it easy for you. You can just click this button right here to get connection to a YouTube subscription. Or if you want these devotions right into your inbox, you can click right here. YouTube here, email here. Email here, YouTube there. Click both these buttons. We'll give you as much of Jesus as we can because we know that Jesus is all that we need.